Hi and welcome. Today I have a layered art tag. So to me that is just a tag that's got a couple different layers. And so I'm starting with a tag I cut on my Cricut out of mixed media paper, but it can be any tag you have. And on my mat I'm spraying some antique linen Oxide distress spray. And I'm just kind of smooshing it around, and I'll dry it and then smoosh it again, and that creates a lot of layers. If you dry between each application, then you'll have different layers. And I'm giving good coverage, but I want to keep some white space. So I dry it real good. And now I'm adding a second layer of color. And this is Rusty Hinge, and I just put it on my stencil there, and that's one I've cut myself. And then I just lay it on top of the tag, and I dried it really well. And for the last color, I'm using tumbled glass, and I'm just spraying it through a stencil. And I dry that really good. If there's any puddles that I want to knock down, I just usually have a dried baby wipe and just kind of dab it off, or paper towel, whatever I've got lying around. And now I'm gonna give some splatter with crackling campfire. And dry that up. For the edges, I don't want them to be white, so I'm just buffing around with some gathered twigs. So the base coloring is done, and my focal piece is going to be this bird, and I'm taking this alphabet stamp, and I've put on some embossing, an embossing pad, and then I'm just going to sprinkle on 3 different colors. The first one is salvaged patina. The second one is crackling campfire. And then I just do a little bit of broken china. Or maybe I didn't add broken china. I'm trying to remember now. And there's just a little spot that didn't get any, so I'm just adding more to that spot. And just by tapping the back, it kind of helps move the embossing glaze powder around to where it hits all the embossing gel. And then I use my heat tool and hit it until it's nice and shiny. For the back of the bird, I'm just kind of with a paintbrush layering in some of the antique linen. And this is Oxides, so it's going to, I'm going to spray it in a little bit and it'll get this kind of chalky look. And I'm just kind of making a little definition around the edge of the bird with all the curves and everything of the bird. It's hard to go around with with the whole pad. And then I'm using this square that I've cut on my Cricut and covered with paper. And I'm into squares right now. And so or a frame, you can call it a frame. I've been calling them frames. And so I'm gonna be layering with that frame and this leaf, which I also cut on my Cricut and kind of had to do some little holes to make it look like it's a really old fallen leaf. And that was inspired by Tim Holtz. He's got some that are tattered, but I don't have a Sizzix, and it's hard to justify when you have a Cricut. So I'm adding some more embossing liquid or gel medium. And now I'm going to add, here's where I add the broken china. Yeah, that's right. I knew I used broken china for something. And I used, it's one, I don't know if it's called Shattered something. It's on a collection of stamps from Stampers Anonymous. It looks like a broken window, but I thought it would look great for veining of leaves. So I have this washi tape, kind of looks vintagey, and it's a whole collection of them, but one of them is musical notes. And so I'm just kind of giving it a little spatter with rusty hinge. Just trying to keep my color palette within the same family that I've used. And I'm going to add some glue to make sure it stays on. And now I'm going to add my birdie. using a couple of the ephemera packs from Tim Holtz's Ideology. One is the field notes, and that will be the squares and the circles, and one is the number strips. And sometimes the number strips are just a little bigger than what I want, and so I kind of just trim them a little bit and then buff the edges with, in this case, gathered twigs, but it could be any brown or black. So one of my layers is going to be the frame with the leaf, and the other was going to be that picture from the collage strips up there. I just thought that would go so well, but then when I assembled them together, you couldn't see the lady, and I just thought, such a beautiful picture, I don't want to not see her. So I decided to go a different route with the second layer, and I have a lot of kind of like packing paper that came with a shipment, and so I just kind of wrinkled it up, stamped on it, and then buffed up the edges with the gathered twigs, and I'm going to mount it on a piece of cardstock. A lot of scraps, so I just trim a scrap to size. And cover it with gathered twigs, just in case you saw the edge of it. So those are my 3 layers. I'm gonna punch a hole in the second layer, but I'm gonna line it up so that it hangs right where I want it. And the frame, I'm just gonna hang off the corner of the frame so it will be at an angle. And I use this bulb safety pin and go through all 3 layers. I just have a little bit of that washi tape sticking out, and I'm trimming that. And then I'm taking a little stamp from the field notes, and I'm just gonna stamp a couple places. And that's it. You'll see a final coming up, but if you haven't subscribed, please do. and give me a thumbs up. And y'all have a great day.